When recently, stop me if I said this earlier, I had a client who said that they had to granulate and the product had to pass through a certain size screen. But even though it passed through the screen, it re-agglomerated before it went to the press. So it was lumpy. And they called me and said, "Come, can you fix the problem?" I'm going, "Look, your batch record says that this must pass through an 18 mesh screen and it won't do it." He goes, "Well, it did. It just re-clumped up." I'm going, "Well, then that means it's not successful. It has to pass through it and stay that size." He said, "Well, that's not what my procedure says. It just said I had to go through there and I got it through there." So we had an argument and I said, "Well, you can fix the problem at the granulator, or you can fix the problem by milling it, or you can stand over a press and screen the product by hand at the press," which would be the craziest thing to do. And that's what they selected because they didn't want to change the granulation practice. They didn't want to change or add milling step. So what they ended up doing was simply hand screening everything that went into that press to get the lumps out. How's that? Kind of crazy. So final blender can be used to add the lubricant, can be used as a premix. It can be used throughout the process as long as we have a flowable product. Any questions on blending, bead blenders? Anything there?
Your intensifier bar can also be used to make the grids with very low amounts of active.
With low amounts of active.
Right.
And the reason you're saying that is to give it
More energy to get it dispersed.
to get better coverage. Yeah, this.
I've done that before. It works pretty well.
If you take a look in here, everybody, you'll see just a little shaft coming out. That's not the intensifier bar. That's just a loading point for the bar. The bar is not in here. So if you, the camera can see in here in the end of the blender, this is not an intensifier bar. This little shaft that's sticking out here is only where the bar would go. Fair enough. So if you guys take a look at this, I'm actually gonna, because I'm gonna leave it open, I'm gonna unplug it because I don't want somebody to turn it on. The next machine down the line here is a little Fitz mill. It's really it's a hammer mill. Like the Chilsonator, Fitzpatrick, instead of just calling it a mill, actually called it a communator. Somebody say it for me. Communator. Thank you. Comminutor. Thank you. I've never been able to say that word twice in a row. Inside here, we talked a little while ago about the different kinds of screens, different kinds of plates. You can see this one here is almost like a cheese grater, where you can feel that it would be good for abrasive products where you want to actually break it up. Feel that screen there, Martin. And so you can see the difference in super fine screens. This one has a backing plate on it. Go ahead and pass that around. So different types of screen surfaces that you can see and feel, take a look at, that are supported. Some of these are supported and some of them are not. Different, some square holes, some round holes, some are actually like a grater to cut and help the product break up. So if I was going to reclaim tablets that are really hard tablets in this mill, I may need help, or the tablets will just sit in the mill and not come out. They just won't make it through because the tablets are tough. So if you have a tough granulation, a lot of times we need to be more aggressive. I need to use the knife edge forward. I need to go through a screen that's going to allow me to really get the product through. And one of the biggest take-home messages here is most of the time you can't go from this big particle size to your final particle size in one step. That it takes multiple steps to achieve that end point. And that's actually a real common thing, because if I have a waxy product or a product that wants to build up or can generate heat, if I blind a screen and then start to extrude product through the screen, what's that going to do to my product? I'm going to have more dense granulation. I'm going to have tablet weight fluctuations as a result of a bad screen or forcing the product to be extruded through the screen. And blinding leads to two other things. Blinding a screen causes discoloration, will cause black spots build up because of the resistance, and actually will eventually turn out to break a screen or drive, and so then we end up with a whole nother problem. So oftentimes you cannot go from a very large particle size to your final particle size. You need several steps to achieve that. Real important. So this is considered